Before time began, before the earth was formed, before the sky, the oceans, or even light existed, there was silence. No people, no animals, no sun, no stars, only darkness and the presence of God. This is the story of how everything began, the story of creation, of life, of choices, and of God's plan for humanity. Come with me. Let us go back to the very beginning. In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. Genesis chapter 1, the beginning. In the beginning, before the world, before the sky, before time itself, there was nothing. No people, no animals, no light. Only God. Then God spoke, "Let there be light." And suddenly, light appeared. The darkness was gone. God saw the light, and it was good. He called the light day, and the darkness night. On the second day, God made the sky. He separated the waters below from the waters above. The sky stretched wide and beautiful. On the third day, God gathered the waters together. Dry land appeared. He called it earth. Then God said, "Let the earth grow plants." Grass grew, trees grew, fruits appeared. The world began to look alive. On the fourth day, God made the sun to shine in the day. He made the moon and stars to shine at night. The sky became full of beauty. On the fifth day, God made the fish in the sea and birds in the sky. They moved freely and joyfully. On the sixth day, God made animals on land, big animals, small animals. Then God did something special. God said, "Let us make man in our image." And he made humans. He made them special. He gave them life, love, and purpose. On the seventh day, God rested, not because he was tired, but to show us that rest is important. Genesis chapter 2, the Garden of Eden. God made a beautiful garden. It was called Eden. The garden was perfect. There were rivers, trees, and fresh fruits. Everything was peaceful. God placed a man there. His name was Adam. God gave Adam a job, to take care of the garden. But Adam was alone. God said, "It is not good for man to be alone." So God made a woman. Her name was Eve. Now Adam was no longer alone. God gave them everything they needed, but he gave them one rule. You may eat from any tree, but do not eat from one tree, the tree of knowledge. Genesis chapter 3, the first sin. One day, a snake appeared, but this was not an ordinary snake. It was clever, very clever. The snake spoke to Eve. "Did God really say you should not eat the fruit?" Eve answered, "We can eat everything except that one tree." The snake said, "You will not die." That was a lie. Eve looked at the fruit. It looked good. She wanted it, so she ate it. Then she gave it to Adam, and he ate it too. Suddenly, everything changed. They felt afraid. They felt shame. They knew they had done wrong. God came into the garden. "Adam, where are you?" They were hiding. Because of their disobedience, they had to leave the garden. But even then, God still cared for them. Genesis chapter 4, Cain and Abel. After Adam and Eve left the garden, life was no longer easy. They had children. The first son was named Cain.
The second son was named Abel. Cain became a farmer. He worked on the land. Abel became a shepherd. He took care of sheep. One day, both brothers brought offerings to God. Cain brought fruits from the ground. Abel brought the best of his sheep. God looked at Abel's offering, and he was pleased. But Cain's offering, God was not pleased. Cain became very angry. His face changed. His heart became heavy. God spoke to Cain, "Why are you angry? If you do what is right, you will be accepted. But if you choose wrong, sin is waiting." But Cain did not listen. One day, Cain said to Abel, "Let us go to the field." And there, in the field, Cain attacked his brother, and Abel died. It was the first time a human killed another human. God asked Cain, "Where is your brother?" Cain said, "I don't know. Am I my brother's keeper?" God said, "Your brother's blood cries out from the ground." Cain was punished. He would no longer farm easily. He would wander the earth. But even then, God showed mercy. He protected Cain from being killed. Genesis chapter 5, the family line. Time passed. More people were born. Families grew. Generations came and went. One man stood out. His name was Enoch. Enoch walked closely with God. He loved God. He obeyed God. Then something special happened. Enoch did not die like others. God took him away. This showed something important. A life close to God is different. Genesis chapter 6. The world becomes corrupt. As people grew, something changed. The world became full of evil. People were doing wrong things. Violence filled the earth. God saw everything, and he was sad. God said, "The hearts of people are always thinking about evil. I am sorry I made them." But one man was different. His name was Noah. Noah was good. He listened to God. He walked with God. God chose Noah for a special purpose. God said, "I will send a great flood. Water will cover the earth. But Noah, I will save you." God gave Noah instructions. Build an ark, a very big boat. The ark would save Noah, his family, and animals. Noah obeyed, even when others did not understand. Even when people laughed at him, he obeyed God. Genesis chapter 7. The Great Flood. The time had come. God spoke to Noah, "Enter the ark, you and your family." Noah obeyed. He entered the ark with his wife, his sons, and their wives. Then the animals came, 2 by 2. Big animals, small animals, birds, and creeping things. They all entered the ark. Then God shut the door. The sky became dark. Clouds gathered. The wind began to blow. Then rain started to fall. Not just a little rain, heavy rain. For 40 days and 40 nights, the rain did not stop. Water covered the land. Houses disappeared. Trees disappeared. Mountains were covered. Everything outside the ark was gone. But inside the ark, Noah and his family were safe. The ark floated on the water, carried by the waves, under the control of God. Genesis chapter 8. The waters go down. After many days, God remembered Noah. The rain stopped. The winds blew. The waters slowly began to go down. The ark rested on a mountain. Noah waited. He sent out a raven, then a dove. The dove returned. There was no dry land. Later he sent the dove again. This time the dove came back with a leaf. Noah knew the earth was becoming dry again. Finally, God said, "Come out of the ark." Noah, his family, and all the animals came out. The earth was fresh, clean, new. Genesis chapter 9. God's promise. Noah built an altar. He thanked God. God was pleased. Then God made a promise. "I will never destroy the earth with water again." God placed a sign in the sky, a rainbow. Whenever people see the rainbow, they should remember God's promise. God blessed Noah and his family.
"Fill the earth again," he said. Life began again. Genesis chapter 10, the new beginning. After the flood, the world began again. Noah's sons had families. Those families spread across the earth. They built cities. They formed nations. Different languages, different lands, different peoples, but all came from one family. The earth was filled again, just as God planned. And that brings us to the end of today's journey through the first chapters of the Bible. We explored the beginning of creation, the choices of man, and the powerful hand of God guiding every step. In this series, we walk through the Bible 10 chapters at a time so that you can understand God's Word simply, clearly, and deeply. If this story blessed your heart, if you learned something new today, please take a moment to like this video, leave a comment below, subscribe for more Bible stories, and share this message with someone who needs it, because someone out there needs to hear this story too. And always remember, God's Word is not just a story, it is a guide, a light, and a promise for your life. Until next time, stay blessed, stay faithful, and keep walking with God.